Good evening. My name is Donald Rainwater, and I am the executive director, of Liberty is Essential PAC, and I was the 2020 Libertarian candidate for governor here in the state of Indiana. I apologize that I don't have my normal green screen up. I also I know the lighting is probably a little funky, but to be perfectly honest, I was out with my family at dinner, saw something on the television that not only disturbed me, but to be honest with you, it kind of got me a little worked up. And so I came home and jumped on as quickly as I could because I want to make sure that everyone that uh, follows me and supports me is aware of what Governor Eric Holcomb did this afternoon and what it means to the state of Indiana and why I'm upset and why I think you should be too. You see, and you can find there's a story on IndyStar.com, uh, and it's the headline says Holcomb forms commission to improve Indiana's public health from COVID to obesity. And here's the nutshell. Here's everything as briefly as I can summarize it. Governor Eric Holcomb has created a 15-person commission headed by retired State Senator Luke Kenley and ex-Health Commissioner Dr. Judy Monroe to spend the next 18 months or so creating a laundry list of recommendations that can be built into the next biennial state budget so that the state government under his leadership can go out and tell you what you can and can't do to be more healthy. Think about this for a minute, folks. It's not enough that Governor Eric Holcomb has expanded state government over the last 5 years in unprecedented ways. We have a Department of Workforce Development, but he created a separate jobs agency with a new secretary. He has presided over the largest tax increases in the state of Indiana's history. He has continued to extend the state of emergency that he started in March of 2020. But that's not enough. That's not good enough for him. He is now expanding state government by creating a new commission of 15 people who are tasked with telling us how we can be healthier. I cannot stress to you strongly enough the fact that when Thomas Jefferson said to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, that he didn't say, oh, and by the way, it's government's job to tell you how to stay healthy. Nowhere in the Declaration of Independence or the United States Constitution is the government given the authority to tell you what you can and cannot do when it comes to personal health. Now, I'm going to make a statement that I know a lot of people will initially cringe at, but I want you to hear me through. Because the progressives, the liberals, they say healthcare is a right. And when they say it, they mean healthcare is a right and government should force everybody to get healthcare. Well, The second part of that is malarkey, because here again, your health care is a right. You have the right to choose what health care, how to pay for it, when to use it. You have the right to choose your own health care, make your own health care decisions. I have said, and I will continue to say, liberty, freedom, is the ability to be as stupid as you want to be as long as it doesn't hurt somebody else. You see, if I want to abuse my body, that's between me and my creator. It is none of government's business. It is not within their purview to tell me, Mr. Rainwater, a double quarter pounder with cheese, a large fry, and a Diet Coke is not in your best interest from a health perspective. So we're going to make it a mandate that you can't have it. But that's what they intend to do. Make no mistake. Now, I find it terribly disingenuous that a political party that has been in control of state government for over a decade and says they believe in limited government would allow an elected governor to continue to create a tyrannical health state in Indiana. That's the only way I can characterize it. I don't get it. And I don't think you get it either. I don't think it makes sense. I don't see, unless we've decided that we're just too stupid to take care of ourselves in Indiana, and we need the all-knowing Eric Holcomb and the Indiana General Assembly at his beck and call in their infinite wisdom to tell us how to live our lives. I just don't get it. How do we continue to let this happen? Here is a man who is going to create a 15-member commission and ask them to create a report to tell the Indiana General Assembly, here are the things that we need to do as a state government to make our people healthier. Really? Really? We have a state Department of Health. We have 92 county health departments and 2 local health departments in this state. And if that much government focused on health can't get it right, how are 15 more people going to make any difference? Come on, man. I'm sorry. I hope you realize I don't have a solution to this problem other than the solution that I keep promoting for all of this. The problem here is this governor is unchecked. The Indiana General Assembly, in its current state, has rendered itself neutral, or should I say, they neutered themselves because they didn't take the appropriate action. The General Assembly years ago gave the governor too much power. This governor is abusing it, and this General Assembly doesn't care. They did nothing. They had opportunity to stop the emergency declarations. They had the opportunity to repeal the statutes giving him the power, and they didn't do it. All they did was pass a lame, unconstitutional bill, giving themselves the opportunity to call themselves into session. But he continues to extend the emergency declaration, and they have not called themselves back into, there's unofficially, they're still in session so they can do redistricting. That's right, folks. They are waiting to gerrymander the living daylights out of Indiana if they haven't done so already. But they intend to do it a little more because they've got to adjust things to get rid of a couple of state representatives that are a fly in their ointment. But they don't really care about limiting his power. They don't care about checks and balances because they're all benefiting. You see, the Indiana Republican super monopoly in our state government is getting fatter, richer, and happier at our expense. Why? Because we as Hoosiers don't stand up and say, enough's enough. I'm not playing this game anymore of partisanship and, if you don't vote for the Republican, the Democrat will win. And, the world's worst Republican is better than any Democrat. And you can't vote for the Libertarian because then the Democrat will win. When are we going to stand up and say, I'm tired of the shell game? I'm tired of the con. I'm tired of the Indiana Republican Party saying they're one thing and governing like another. A 15-member commission whose job it is to tell state government what they need to do to spend more money to make us healthier. Folks, this is the biggest crock of crap. And we're just sitting here taking it. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people think that for whatever reason, the 2020 election was rigged at one level or another. But folks, we've got to stop worrying about what happened in the past, and we've got to look at what they're doing to our future. And saying that, until we fix the elections, nothing else matters. That's exactly what they want you to think. And they will destroy your liberties, your freedoms, your children, and they'll smile all the way to the bank doing it. These elite establishment political class people are getting rich by selling their influence at your expense. And it's time it stopped. We've got to do something, and the time to do it is now in the 2022 election. Yeah, I can't be any more honest or genuine than I am right now, other than the fact that, to be very honest with you, I want to cuss so bad I can't stand it, but I'm fighting off the urge because it's just not the right thing to do when delivering this message. But let me tell you, make no mistake, I'm beside myself. I just cannot believe how much more of a power grab and a money grab can the Indiana Republican Party participate in. I mean, this is unbelievable. You have a man who says with his mouth on television during a televised debate, I cannot support medical cannabis because there's not been enough research done. But he fully supports a vaccine that's only been around for a year and a half, 2 years. Now, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with the vaccine. Please make no mistake. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there's wrong with a man who says, on one hand, decades of research aren't enough, but on the other hand says, well, go get this shot. That's a double standard. It's a double standard. And everything that comes out of his mouth is disingenuous and a double standard. You cannot say that you are for the people, the citizens of the state of Indiana, and constantly work to erode their constitutional God-given rights. You just can't. You can't be both. And trying to put together a commission so that you can tell people, well, here's what you need to do to be healthier. Oh my goodness. So again, I apologize. I really, this is more, forgive me for saying so, this is more of a bitch session than anything else, but I wanted people to know. I wanted people to hear that the governor of the state of Indiana is again expanding government. And he's creating a commission to study what the state can spend money on in the next biennial budget in 2023 and call it for the health of Hoosiers. Now, I'm sorry, folks. How much I weigh, my blood pressure, which is high probably because of him more than anything else, what my cholesterol is, what my blood sugar is, none of government's business. None of it. And I'm going to take this a step further. And here again, I am not anti-vaccine. I am not anti-mask. I am anti-mandate. I am anti-government in your personal business. So let me make this very clear. Anytime the government requires you to prove that you've been vaccinated, I believe that's a violation of HIPAA laws, because your medical history is your business and it is your choice who knows what your medical history is and who doesn't, not the government's. And if we let this kind of thing go on, there'll be a day, folks, when the government will tell you what you can buy at the grocery store, which restaurants you can eat at, how many calories you can consume a day. It's coming. Believe it. You can say that's crazy. But 2 years ago, if I'd have told you that children who've been vaccinated against a virus are going to be required to wear masks in school, you'd have told me I was crazy. But that's what we're doing. Isn't it amazing? No masks for kids in school when school starts. 3 weeks later, terrible uptick in positive cases. Going to have to, everybody's got to wear a mask, whether you're vaccinated or not. Oh, and by the way, somebody's making a lot of money off of vaccines. Now we're going to need a booster. Isn't it amazing how the science keeps changing? Folks, we live in a dangerous time. We live in a time when, yes, there are a lot of extremists. There are a lot of people who are probably a little more to one side or the other than reality probably dictates. But the truth of the matter is, something's something's way out of whack. Way out of whack. When a government continues to erode your individual freedoms, and I'm sorry, you cannot convince me that public safety or public health is more important than individual rights. Because without our individual rights, what are we? Without our individual sovereignty, who are we? Yes, we need to be well educated and make our own choices as to our health. But they need to be our choices, not the government. Because folks, the bottom line is this. If I make a mistake, I pay the consequences. If the government makes a mistake, they're not going to fix it for me. I still pay the consequences. And the truth and the reality is that in the country I was born into, the United States of America, individual responsibility is a major portion of my freedom. And individual responsibility isn't me taking care of everybody else. It's me taking care of me. So I encourage you, do a little research, keep an eye out for this 15-person commission. And let's watch and be vigilant. Because the reality is the people that we elect to the Indiana General Assembly, the 100 state representatives and the 25 state senators that get elected in November 2022 are the people who are going to respond to the report this commission publishes. And I have a question. Do you want people sitting in the General Assembly who will blindly follow whatever this report says because they blindly follow whatever the governor and the Indiana GOP tells them to do? Or do you want people in the Indiana General Assembly who represent you and your individual rights and who understand what Thomas Jefferson meant when he said, to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, as defined by you, not Eric Holcomb, not the Indiana Republican Party, but as defined by you. Thank you very much. I don't feel any better, but at least I got some things off my chest. I appreciate you watching. Please, please remember, you were not born a Republican or a Democrat. You were born you. You choose. You decide. That's the way God intended it. That's why he gave us free will. And that's the way that Jefferson, Madison, Washington, that's what they intended too. Thank you. Have a good evening.